And hello, dear ones. Yes, my headset seems to be working. Robert Brzezinski with you here. So glad we were together. Tonight is the 27th evening prayers for March 27th, 2020. I do not have a special guest this evening. And you know what? That's okay, because not every prayer is meant to be shared. Some prayers are meant to be solo and unique. I want to say hello to everybody that's watching at a later time on a recording or tomorrow or wherever it might be, because oftentimes the Facebook Live folks are just starting to roll in. And so say hello to everybody out there that's watching from the very beginning, and recognize that the Facebook Live folks are starting to come into the room, and perhaps anyone on YouTube Live as well. It's a Friday evening, and I tell you, I I keep coming into these nights a little bit later and a little bit more jazzed, because Daniel Nahmod's been doing his concerts every night starting, and it's supposed to be a half hour. It starts at 7:30 Mountain Time, and he goes long, and by 8 o'clock Mountain Time, he's still going, and 8:15, he's just wrapping up, and I'm jumping from one room to another to get over here. So, but I'm really grateful to be with you folks. And for those that have been watching, or maybe those that are new, this started as just a way to pray for and with people. And if you have a prayer request, you're welcome to send it. Please do. Actually, I realized I got a air purifier. I'm going to turn that off. Probably too much extra sound. If you have a prayer request, please send it to me. I'd be more than happy to pray on that request for you, or get on the phone and pray with you live if you like, or read your prayer request into this room if you like. And this has become a great experience of sharing a prayer with many of my colleagues and friends who I haven't talked with in a while. And it's been a great way to reaffirm the oneness that is absolutely inherent within all of us. And it's really wild, because my colleagues and we don't get together and talk about these calls before they happen. And if you watch them over time, there's definitely themes that are emerging, and we're all speaking the same language. We're all breathing the same air as well. So regardless of how we perceive what's going on in the world, regardless of what name we ascribe to the universal presence and power and intelligence, there's truly only one. There's only one thing going on. And so it's fun to be in this creative soup. Now, it's not fun to wallow in what's going on in the world these days, and it's not fun to immerse, to bombard myself with news and all the this and that, and but there is a sense of adventure. There's a sense of excitement within this time, where certain distractions, a lot of distractions, are falling away and are being forced to fall away. I think it's pretty cool. So, so I've been praying every morning, every evening, oftentimes in the middle of the day, oftentimes with friends, oftentimes without friends. And at the end of the day, hey, we're still here. I'm praying. I'm praying, and I'm constantly turning to the truth. So I don't have a guest to speak with tonight. I don't have anybody I'm sharing with, which means we'll probably get out of here early, or maybe right on time. See how spirit moves me. But I'm going to invite each of you, if you're comfortable, slip into that place of knowing that, if you're comfortable, close your eyes and allow yourself to breathe. Just allow yourself to breathe and to be. To breathe in God and to be present to the exhale of God. to pull in the consciousness and express outward the demonstration. To be in a place and a presence where there's a recognition that there's only one power, period. One power. There is no two, there is no duality, there is no separation, there is no division, there is no discord, there is no unsettled, there is no uncertain, there is no disease, because all of that is not the truth of God. See, this oneness that I call God, and I know it goes by many, many names. Call it Buddha, Brahma, Vishnu, Kuan Yin, Source Energy, Divine One, Mother Earth, Love. No matter the name, no matter the image I ascribe to this power, it is still the oneness that is expressing through and as all life. Everywhere present, everywhere active, everywhere operating, even in the midst of the ugliness, even in the midst of the chaos, even though there is no chaos. The ugliness is just my perception of it. There is a sublime beauty that is being painted right now. There is a divine masterpiece that is revealing itself. There is a grand and glorious vision that is right now molding the clay that is humanity, that is Mother Earth, that is this temporal experience. There is these divine hands that are squeezing and squashing and changing everything. And at the end of the day, it's still all good. Because at the end of the day, we're still here. At the end of the day, I still feel the connection of the oneness. And while I recognize that there are those that are making their transition from this human form into the next form, into the next experience of livingness, into the next experience of eternal life, I celebrate being here right now, being part of the transition team, being part of humanity's team. Because there's no question that humanity is going through a great transition in this moment. There's no question that there is a new expression of human life coming onto this planet, of human consciousness birthing itself into form all across this planet. I am reminded that not long ago we watched almost an entire continent burn. And yet life immediately begins to spring anew. And as we watch that happen at the plant, to the plants and the trees, through the fires of Australia, and as we watch that happen, there's a great sorrow and yet a great jubilation when we see the rebirth, the growth that happens immediately. Even as fires burn, other places are regenerating. And we see that again right here, right now, in this incredible experience, in this ugly, awe-inspiring, weird experience. We see that death is immediately followed by new life. That there is forever a new rebirth that is happening. And yes, children are being born and mothers are giving birth. And yes, a transition has happened and is occurring on this planet. And yet I recognize there is a great calling within for so many to be part of the transition team, to show up, shine their light, speak their truth, and answer the deep calling of their heart, of their soul, to serve the evolution of humanity on this planet, to be around when the storm has blown over, to be on the front lines in the midst of the storm. And those preparing for the recovery, those preparing to be the hands of God through the recovery. There is this glorious moment by moment by moment expression of God that is happening in so many ways, in so many hands. So I know there is the sorrow, and I yet turn myself towards the vision. And I invite each one that hears these words to turn towards that vision, to turn towards that personal vision of what happens next, of where we go from here. What is the grand stirring, the grand calling within your own heart that is right now beckoning you into greatness, into glory, into the next great expression of livingness? Oh. See, what I know is I know that God would never abandon its creation, and that each one that hears these words now or at another time, each one expresses a divine demonstration of God's love, of God's compassion, of God's power and glory and abundance and magnificence and health and well-being. Each one a divine expression of the whole. And so I know that in the midst of that, there is a perfect unfolding, a perfect journey, stepping into the glorious vision that is God's life made manifest on the planet at this time. So whether we call it the Great Reset or we call it the Great Reboot, we call it a pause in time, we call it a chance for Mother Earth to breathe her lungs and heal, no matter the name we ascribe to this time, this is a human experience. And what I know is God cannot be diminished. God cannot be less than whole. And so God is right now recreating itself from the wholeness which it is into the wholeness that it shall always be. And the only thing is changing is the way we look at it, the way we perceive it. So I stand in this moment in a deep sense of commitment to turn and recognize the truth, no matter what shows up, no matter the condition, no matter the appearance, to turn and face the divine and say, I trust in thee. I trust in the one because I know the one's got it. I know it is not I that is doing the work. It is God that is doing the work. I know that it is that one power that is making all of this happen, that is making the virus spread and healing the virus at the same time, making the virus move and finding the way to stop the movement. I know God is operating through those that obey the orders and those that disobey. Because at the end of the day, it's still all God. And it's still all good. Because it could be no other way. And so I am in this moment just feeling that giddy giggle of absolute gratitude. Because I know God's got it and I can get out of the way. So I do just that. I release this word into the law that has already said yes, that is already acting upon it, and I get myself out of the way. I release the word into the law and I let it be. And I affirm this truth by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you, dear ones, for being with me. It is my pleasure and my service to be here. And I will say that, much like almost everyone in the gig economy, a lot of things are shifting in how I accept abundance and how I allow abundance to flow into my life, and the ways that it did 2-3 weeks ago are not there any longer. So if you are now an expression of God's great abundance flowing into my life, whether it's $1 or 5 or 50,000, whatever it might be, any gift to sustain my family and this work is greatly, greatly appreciated. So I will be back again tomorrow morning. We're going to move the morning sessions to 8:15 because here's the big thing. It just feels easier to let people know that we're here at 8:15, both AM and PM, and I don't want to go any earlier in the evening. And I almost said I'm afraid, but I'm not. I have a feeling we're going to be here for a while. And with that, I want to remind anybody that's watching that our Daily Spirit Callings podcast is available. You can catch that every morning. There is a Daily Spirit Callings podcast. It is about a minute and a half usually. It's an affirmation you can use throughout the day, a little bit of an inspiration around that affirmation concept, and then a call to action to use throughout your day. So whether now that we're not going out in the world, I find that they're a little more challenging to write for every day. But please, if you're looking for another great way to stay inspired, I would suggest that. And do remember, today's episode is sponsored by New Thought Radio. New Thought Radio, positively inspiring tunes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at newthoughtradio.net. That's all we've got for this evening, folks. Right on time. See that? I still took the whole 15 minutes. I love you. Peace and blessings. I look forward to speaking with you soon or being with you soon. Until then, peace and blessings. Bye now.